Master Sergeant Jack Reece woke to pain. It wasn't the pain of a wound, but of landing hard on terrain not meant for a human body. His back ached. His head throbbed. Dirt clung to his skin like static. When his vision cleared, he saw a dense jungle around him, blue-leaf trees, vines like coils of wire, and a purple sky above, hazy with alien suns. He wasn't on Earth. He rolled to his knees, instinct overriding confusion. First assessment, he was alive. Second, unarmed. No rifle, no sidearm, no knife. His watch and dog tags were gone. He wore only combat pants, boots, and a tight black shirt. Someone had taken him, stripped him, and dropped him here like game. He took a breath, slow and controlled. This was a hunt. He'd seen it in the eyes of men who thought war was sport. Now he was the prize. In the distance, something shrieked. Not human. Something big. Jack stood slowly scanning. His training spoke louder than fear. He noted the lay of the land. Dense underbrush, a small stream nearby, elevation sloping northwest. He walked upstream, moving low and quiet. Predator mode. As he moved, memories flickered, camping alone in Montana, waking to a blinding white flash. Something had taken him. Jack didn't believe in aliens. Not until now. After an hour of quiet movement, he found proof. A clearing ringed with scorch marks. In the center, a pod, half buried in the dirt. Still warm. It looked like a bullet built for a giant. No markings. No sound. Just heat and menace. Jack crouched and examined the perimeter. Tracks, three-toed, deep impressions. Large. Heavy. Whatever stepped out of that pod wasn't here for diplomacy. Behind him, the leaves rustled. Jack dropped flat. He didn't breathe. A shimmer moved past, bipedal, armored, but distorted, like a heat mirage. A cloaking field. Jack watched it step past, silent as a shadow. The shimmer paused, sniffed the air, then kept moving east. Hunting. He exhaled slowly. Whoever they were, they didn't expect resistance. That was their mistake. In a massive warship orbiting the jungle moon, Commander Vurak of the Varnok Dominion stood before a holoscreen showing Jack's movements. A primitive, one soldier muttered. Vurak snarled. No, this one killed 30 insurgents with no support. He tracked and eliminated armored patrols with only a blade. His kind are rare, dangerous, the last true predators of Earth. We honored him with a hunt. Another Varnok laughed. He has no weapons, no allies. He dies within the cycle. Vurak said nothing. He simply watched the human set his traps. Jack worked fast. He had stripped vines into cords, sharpened branches with stone, and camouflaged a spiked pit between two trees. Crude, yes, but deadly if placed well. He found a large flat rock and broke it open with another, finding a jagged shard, glass sharp. Not much of a knife, but better than nothing. Hours passed. The sounds of the jungle changed. Less bird-like chirping. More silence. Predators were close. Jack crouched in a tree, still as stone, his shard knife in hand. Then he saw it. One of them. It shimmered again, cloaked, but he saw its outline against the filtered light. It stepped closer to the trap. Just one more step. The creature triggered the tripvine. The net snapped upward, but it didn't catch. The Varnok was too fast. It activated a shoulder-mounted blaster and fired at the trees. Jack was gone before the shot hit. He had moved sideways, silent. They had tech. He had instincts. The Varnok advanced cautiously now. Jack had missed, but it wouldn't matter. He threw a stone across the clearing. The alien turned toward the noise, exactly when Jack dropped from the tree above. He landed on its back, driving the shard deep into the soft joint of its neck armor. The Varnok howled, thrashed, but Jack gripped tight, twisting hard. The creature dropped. Jack rolled off, grabbing the plasma pistol from its wrist before the body even hit the ground. He stared down at the thing. 8 feet tall, black chitin armor, reptilian snout. Not so tough when taken by surprise. Jack crouched, listening. In the distance, he heard a shriek. More were coming. He didn't run. He smiled. The plasma pistol hissed in Jack Reece's hand. Alien, unfamiliar, but functional. He gripped it tight, checked its power cell, and gave a short nod. 23 charges left. That'd do. He stripped the fallen Varnok of useful gear, a bandolier of shock mines, a single-blade vibro knife, and a spherical drone the size of softball. The drone blinked red, likely transmitting its last moments. He smashed it against a rock. No time to waste. Jack moved fast, covering his tracks. He had to assume they knew. That first kill wouldn't go unanswered. Not with creatures like this, prideful, efficient, and arrogant. They had the look of professional killers. But arrogance was a hole in the armor. Jack had seen it before. Guerrilla Warfare 101. Break their rhythm. Force them into fear. Commander Vurak watched the death replay through static-ridden feeds. His lower mandibles clicked with restrained rage. This human killed Yarek, with stone and blade. A technician nodded, eyes wide. Disrupted the drone's signal. Crushed it. He knew it was watching. Vurak snarled. Deploy Sky Eye. Full heat scan. Lock his location. But he's not prey. He's an opponent. The jungle thickened as the sun dipped toward the horizon. Jack used the time to build a high-ground position on a rocky ridge overlooking a riverbed. It gave him visibility, range, and a fallback. He laid shock mines near the riverbank, hidden under brush, rigged with tripwires he twisted from vines. Above, he shaped a perch with natural foliage and covered it with mud to kill the human scent. The plasma pistol rested on his lap, the vibro knife on his belt. As night fell, he spotted them. 3 of them now, Varnok warriors, advancing slowly, weapons raised, moving in a tactical triangle formation. They swept their surroundings with scanning beams, red grids flickering through the trees. Jack narrowed his eyes. Too slow, too careful. They were scared. That was good. He waited, heart steady. Time dragged like syrup. Then, the lead stepped onto the first mine. Crack, flash. A pulse of electricity burst up through the creature's body, locking it in mid-stride. The second stepped back and hit the tripwire. Another mine. A second burst. The third bolted for cover. Jack opened fire. The plasma pistol coughed, a short blue bolt. The shot hit the fleeing Varnok cinemass. Armor cracked. The creature stumbled, howled, and rolled behind tree. Jack was already moving. Down the ridge. Silent and fast. He reached the stunned Varnok before the charge wore off. One quick thrust with the vibro knife to the soft gap beneath the jaw done. 2 down. The third was breathing, wounded but crawling. Jack stepped into its line of sight. The alien raised its weapon with shaking claws. Jack kicked it away. He knelt beside it, looked it in the eye. Reptilian, yellow, hateful. You're not the first thing I've had to kill in the dark, Jack said coldly. The creature made a noise. Not speech. A click or curse. Jack left it alive. He took the rifle and disappeared into the trees. On the orbiting Varnok vessel, silence hung heavy. Vurak stared at the casualty feed. 3 dead, 1 unresponsive, all within the same time block. This was not sport anymore. This was a massacre. He is adapting, said the tactical analyst. Each kill more efficient. He took weapons. Left one alive. Purposeful psychological destabilization. He's not prey, Vurak said again. He's human. Jack set up camp deep in a ravine, hidden beneath a waterfall's noise. He now had a plasma rifle, better range, better stopping power. The knife was secure. The pistol tucked at his hip. He cooked nothing, slept little. Instead, he carved into a rock wall with the tip of the vibro knife. A mark, 1 vertical line for each kill. 3 marks stood tall by moonlight. Jack sat beside them, staring at the sky, thinking, he didn't want this. But he'd learned long ago, when someone drags you into their war, you finish it your way. These Varnok thought they could hunt him for entertainment. For pride. He would turn that pride into their death warrant. Smoke drifted through the canopy as Jack Reece watched the Varnok outpost burn. They'd built it as a fallback zone. A small command node with a comms dish, supply crates, and a shield emitter to block orbital scans. Now it was a smoking ruin. Jack had crawled in under the shield perimeter, rigged the power core with a stolen thermal charge, and ghosted away before it blew. He hadn't even needed to fire a shot. 5 Varnok remained. He could feel them closing in tighter now, angrier. No longer a hunt. This was vengeance. And vengeance made people sloppy. Jack crouched beside a corpse. One of the Varnok he'd wounded the night before. The creature had bled out, trying to crawl home. Jack had followed the trail, found the body, and left it hanging upside down by its ankles from a tree. Not for cruelty, for message. He dipped 2 fingers into the black blood and painted a line across a stone. Then another, then a third, forming a mark in the shape of a jagged. The same sigil he'd seen on their armor, turned upside down. Their pride defaced. Let them see it. Commander Varnok smashed his fist into the bulkhead of the command chamber. Enough, he bellowed. The officer beside him stood still, not daring to speak. He attacks our minds. He bleeds us with rocks and fire like a pack beast, Varnok seethed. I will go down myself. We in this tonight. The remaining Varnok, 4 warriors plus the commander, armed up. They carried heavier rifles now, personal shields, and heat-seeking drones. Their body armor sealed at the joints. Tactical helmets replaced their decorative crests. No more games. Now it was war. Jack watched them descend from the ridgeline through infrared scopes. He was waiting for them in a canyon choked with thorn brush and soft sinkholes. The wind howled between the rocks, masking noise. He'd laid out shock traps, heat decoys made from animal carcasses, and plasma grenades from a Varnok he'd ambushed at dawn. He was outnumbered, outgunned, but not outplayed. As the squad entered the canyon, they fanned out, tight practiced. He admired their discipline. These weren't amateurs, but they'd never fought a man like him on ground he'd made his own. Jack triggered the first grenade. A false heat source exploded near the back of the line. 2 Varnok turned instinctively. He opened fire from the side, cutting down 1 clean through the neck seam. 3 left. They scrambled for cover, returning fire, but Jack had already moved, crawling through a dry ravine tunnel to flank them. A second grenade, this time tossed manually, knocked one off his feet. The Varnok landed on a buried mine. The blast cracked armor and spine alike. 2 left. Varnok roared over the comms. Close ranks. He is alone. The last soldier, heavy and scarred, barked back. He is death. That hesitation cost him. Jack came out of the mist at full sprint, leaping from the rocks, slamming into the Varnok with raw momentum. He drove the vibro knife up into the chest cavity, bypassing the armor. The alien fell with a sputtering groan. Only Varnok remained. The commander pivoted fast, firing wildly. Plasma bolts lit up the canyon. Jack ducked behind a boulder, rifle gone, knife lost. It was down to fists now. Varnok tossed aside his weapon. He wanted this personal. Jack came at him hard. The fight was brutal, claws against fists, brute strength against precision. Varnok slammed Jack into a stone wall, cracking ribs. Jack swept the leg, dropped the alien, and delivered 2 hard strikes to the throat. Varnok grabbed him by the neck and lifted him, snarling, breath steaming. "You are only flesh," Varnok growled. Jack drew the hidden shard from his boot, the same broken stone he'd used on the first kill, and jammed it deep into Varnok's eye socket. The alien howled and fell. Jack stood over the twitching body, chest heaving. "Yeah," he rasped. "Flesh that fights back." The jungle was silent. The last Varnok was dead. Jack limped toward the old drop zone where this all began. He moved slowly, wounds screaming with each step, but his eyes were clear. Above, he saw it. The shimmer of a cloaked Varnok warship, finally descending. They'd come to retrieve their champions. He left a trail of corpses instead. As the ship landed, he dragged Varnok's body into view. Bloodied, broken, and burned. Jack stared into the landing ramp's dark void, knowing they were watching. He raised the Varnok commander's severed crest and dropped it in the dirt. "You sent soldiers to hunt one man?" Jack said aloud. "Next time, bring an army." Then he turned and walked back into the trees. The Varnok warship hovered low over the jungle canopy, its hull scarred and venting heat from multiple impact points. Inside, the crew stood silent, watching the human disappear into the trees once more, alone, injured, and defiant. He had killed their elite, left their commander broken and humiliated. What began as a ritual hunt was now a crisis, one they couldn't afford to take back to the Dominion unavenged. Below, Jack Reece knew that too. He didn't expect them to flee. Not these creatures. He hadn't just embarrassed them. He'd exposed them. They needed to erase him, bury this failure in fire. So he made a choice. He was going to end them. 2 days passed. Jack didn't hide. He hunted. He moved from crash site to outpost, reclaiming every scrap of gear he could salvage. He found a fallen recon drone and pulled its fusion core, found a half-buried supply crate, and rigged the rations into bait traps laced with toxins from local flora. He studied their tech, crude in some ways, too reliant on power, vulnerable in others. The key was the ship. He watched it from a ridge as it hovered over a clearing, deploying scouts and drones, probing the jungle for signs of him. He didn't know how to fly it, and he didn't care. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to bury it. Night fell. Jack returned to the old cliffside basin, where the jungle dipped into a bowl of dense foliage and stone pillars. He'd chosen it as his final battlefield, a place he could trap, bottleneck, collapse. He wired the fusion core beneath a natural choke point. Carefully, it would overload and cook the entire basin in a plasma inferno, if triggered. Then he waited. He let them find him. Alarms blared inside the Varnok vessel. Thermal scans picked him up, bright, exposed, motionless at the basin center. The crew scrambled. A full kill team, 9 soldiers, second-line troopers, and a pair of battle drones, descended in drop pods, weapons hot. This wasn't sport. This was an execution. Jack crouched behind a fallen tree and watched them come. He remembered Kandahar. He remembered the compound raid in Nigeria. The black site breach in Belarus. Every time they said he'd die. Every time he walked out alone. This was no different. He gripped the remote detonator in one hand. In the other, he held the plasma rifle he'd customized, shortened barrel, steady grip, battery boosted with a second cell. He counted the pods, 9, then the drones. He smiled. "Let's finish it," he whispered. They advanced fast. Jack fired first, 3 clean bursts, 2 aliens down before the rest hit the dirt. He shifted left, broke line of sight, drew fire toward the kill zone. Drone scanned, spotted him, opened fire, blue bolts tearing up trees and rock. Jack rolled, shoulders screaming, and triggered one of the tree traps. A spike log swung down on the lead drone, shattering its casing. The squad moved to flank, right into the basin, into the trap. Jack retreated slowly, drawing them all in. Then, when the last entered the choke point, he lifted the detonator, whispered a name he hadn't spoken in years, his brothers, killed in a war Jack never got to end, and pressed the button. The fusion core ignited. It wasn't just an explosion, it was annihilation. A pulse of white-hot light burst from the ground, vaporizing the choke point and everything inside it. The jungle caught fire. Trees turned to ash. Stone cracked and boiled. From orbit, the Varnok ship rocked violently. Systems went offline. Shields flickered. Flames licked up one side of its hull. Inside, chaos reigned. The fusion overload had triggered a chain reaction. Jack had buried other cores around the basin, fragments, rigged to destabilize. The overload pierced the vessel's hull integrity. Internal fires swept through the lower decks. Evacuation orders screamed over comms. Jack watched the sky. The ship groaned. Then it began to fall. He ran as it hit, fast, low, hard. The ground quaked. The sound was deafening. Fire and debris sprayed across the forest. Trees flattened. Wildlife scattered. When the dust settled, the jungle was silent again. The Varnok ship lay broken and burning, half submerged in earth and ruin. Jack limped to the wreckage. Bodies, scattered tech, shattered pride. He climbed the ruined ramp and stood where their command deck once was. A final message played in a flickering console, Vurak's voice defiant and cold. "You cannot kill a species. You cannot kill a war." Jack stared at it, then smashed the console underfoot. "No," he muttered, "but I can kill every last one of you that comes." Days later, a Terran patrol ship picked up a distress beacon. When they landed, they found a jungle scarred by fire, an alien warship gutted, and a single man waiting beside the wreck. Exhausted, bloodied, alive. His first words were simple. "Tell Earth, they started a war. I finished the first battle." And somewhere deep in the stars, the Varnok Dominion marked a planet not as prey, but as a graveyard.